What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to hang out. Today we're talking about the Sound Radix Auto Align plugin. If you've never used this on your drums after you record, it is incredible. I mean, we do our best when we record to check our phasing and do all that good stuff. But no matter, with just so many microphones on the drum set, you're gonna deal with some phase cancellation. So this plugin is golden. I mean, it will improve your raw recorded drums significantly, and then you send that off to mix, and it just makes a massive difference. So let's check out this plug. All right, guys, so let's get it started here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull up Sound Radix Phase Align, and we're gonna put it on our left overhead, our hi-hat overhead, the one closest to the snare. And what we're gonna do is make that our source and phase align everything to that. And there's a few differences, but I'll explain that as we go through here. So let's go to our overhead left, or our one that's closest to the snare. We're gonna go down to Sound Radix Auto Align. So when this pulls up here, you'll see you're gonna have a send and receive here. We want to send overhead left to each channel that we want to be phase aligned to this particular source. So right here you have your input volume and a side chain volume and a noise floor. You don't really need to do too much with that. It'll kind of see everything it needs to see, but if you needed to do some more detailed work on there, you can. So we want to detect on delay and polarity, not just delay. And everything else here just kind of stays the way it is when the plug opens up. So let's try this. So we're gonna open another instance on snare top, and this is just what I do. So we have two snare top mics here, and we're going to open this guy up here, Sound Radix, and we're going to receive channel one. So we're sending on one from the overhead left or the hi-hat overhead, and we're going to receive on snare top the 57 on channel one here. And all we're gonna do is let me ungroup here and solo these two up. All right, so we're gonna hear the snare against the left overhead, hear the hi-hat overhead, and then we're going to listen again after we detect and hear the difference. Okay, let's hit detect and see what it does. All right, so you see we were only 7 samples off there, which is really good. That's not very much at all. So we won't hear too much of a difference there, but that means it was just really well recorded. But we still corrected by 7 samples there, so that is, as you add that up through all the microphones, and there will be more mics that are more out of phase, but as you correct this detailed sample by sample here, you're going to end up with a much better recorded product here at the end of this. Alrighty, moving on to the second snare top mic, which is a condenser mic. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our first one that we already phase aligned, and we're going to send it down channel 2, and we're gonna phase align our other snare top and snare bottom mic to channel 2 here. So let's take a listen to this. This is snare top 57 snare condenser and overhead left. All right, so now we're going to detect the phase of this snare condenser against the dynamic 57 on the snare. Here we go. And with that change there, it's only 16 samples, which is still not terrible. Sometimes you'll get sample changes in the hundreds, but you heard a massive difference. Let me bypass this. Listen to how thin that sounds. in comparison. Just a lot more mid-range, a lot more presence out of the snares. So let's do the same thing to the snare bottom. Pull up. And we're going to receive 2 from the snare top. Let's hear it. Okay, we'll detect and hear the difference. Okay, that detected there just after the snare was done being played, so let's take another listen. So that snare bottom was 75 samples off from the 57 condenser. Okay, so let's just continue here. We're gonna go to the kick. Kick in and start the same process. So we will receive channel 1 here because we want to align this kick mic to our source, which we've chosen the hi-hat overhead or the left overhead from the drummer's perspective. Okay, so let's give this a listen. Alrighty, we'll detect. $168. Yeah, you can hear just the presence that's added. It's a big deal when you're dealing with your raw drums and you get the cleanest source as possible, and your mixer will love you. And you'll just hear the presence. The stereo image will clean up. It's amazing. Okay, so now with the kick, we want to go to the second kick mic. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna send this kick in out channel 3, and on kick out, what we're gonna do is we're going to receive on channel 3 and check the out kick against the in kick. Here we go. And we'll just solo these 2 up here. Okay, we can get a good listen there. Yeah, and you just hear that open up. Let's take another listen. Just a much clearer, cleaner picture of the kick drum. That sounds like almost inside out. And when you have the plug not bypassed and that phase align is working, it just puts it right in the middle, gives it all its presence, the way it was supposed to sound originally. All right, so moving on, we're going to hi-hat. We will do this hi-hat mic to our original source 1, so we're going to receive channel 1. There's not much going on here, but it can work with what's there. Only 5 samples off there. So we'll do the same with our toms. The toms are gonna also align to the first channel. So we'll find some tom work here. All right, 19 samples there. We will do the same for, in this case, we only have 2 toms, so floor tom. We'll actually come back over here where he's playing that. Sounds great already. All right, so on floor tom 2, again, we're receiving channel 1. Let's give it a check. Bypass. Yeah, you can just really hear how even some of the air cleans up, just really gives you a clearer picture. So overhead right side, drummer's perspective, we'll do that. And then we're going to give a listen to the whole kit with and without the auto align. So we're going to receive 1 here. All right, so that second overhead was 19 samples off from the first one. So let's just give this a listen. Let me find some tom action here. Here we go. So you can hear just all the low end that we lost there with all that phase cancellation. The toms is just much more present. All right, so you can see the massive difference that this plugin makes. I mean, you're talking a 25 to 30% change in the quality or in the clarity, the stereo imaging of your drum kit. This is after the fact. And it will fix really bad phase issues. Like I said, sometimes you'll get some phasing issues that are into the hundreds of samples. And so this plugin is incredible. I use it on everything that I edit, everything I produce, everything I play. It's a really valuable tool, so I recommend you go out there and get it if you're not already doing this to your drums. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Give us a like, hit us with a subscribe. We appreciate all the support, and we'll be back soon with another one.